speaking on the topic emotional intelligence. Next slide. 1 second. So we all know that IQ is very important for the growth of an individual, for the success of an individual. But what about emotional intelligence? I know that is something very, very important. In fact, many researchers have proven that emotional intelligence is more important than the IQ, intelligence quotient. So now let's try to understand what is an emotion. So the first definition of emotion was given by Woodworth. So according to him, emotion is a mood or stirred up state of the organism. And basically, emotion is a state of being excited, agitated, or in motion. So he described emotion as a conscious stirred up state of the organism. So we all need to know and understand that emotion is a conscious process. So those some participants are speaking amongst themselves, please do mute yourself then if you're conversing something else. Right? So to understand emotion, it's a conscious stirred up state of the organism, implying that it is an experience that the person is aware of. So many times we feel that emotions or, it pops up all of a sudden and we'll have to manage with that, but it's not so. Emotion can also be a conscious process. Now let's try to understand the functions of the emotions. Basically, we all strive for this throughout our lives. It's at the intrapersonal level, it is the state of being. Like say for example, I'm here speaking with you all. So at this point of time, how am I feeling is something that is important for me to speak with you effectively, for me to connect with you all effectively. And another important function of emotion is productivity. See, our productivity has a direct relationship with our state of emotion. Say, for example, if I am happy or if I'm in a state of happy and comfort, then the productivity automatically enhances. Or otherwise, if my mood is little gloomy or something like that, productivity will automatically go down. Another important function of emotion is its interpersonal functioning. See, we are all social beings. We all have the need to connect with the world. So your emotional intelligence level defines the way we connect with the world or with the significant others, say it be family or workplace or any other social connections as such. Another important function of emotion is socio-cultural functioning, that is the way we connect with the world. Say, for example, lots of things would happen in and around the nation, right? So how do we connect with them defines the richness of our experience of living in a particular nation or a region. So emotions helps you to have either good connection with the world or in otherwise. So we may have little confusions or regarding emotions and feelings. Basically, emotions stirs up first. Say, for example, when we experience something, when you go to a place, your sensory organs itself will communicate to you whether it's okay or not. So a fundamental difference between feelings and emotions is that feelings are experienced consciously, whereas emotions manifest either consciously or subconsciously. After an experience, you can define how you are feeling. You can name your feeling. I'm feeling good, I'm feeling bad, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling happy, unhappy, whatsoever may be your feeling. So feelings are the conscious aspects, whereas emotions may be conscious or they may pop up from the subconscious level. So it's irony that, some people may spend years or even a lifetime not understanding the depth of their emotions. In fact, we all strive for that experience, emotions. So now let's try to understand the types of emotions. Um, I would prefer to categorize it into two: pleasant emotions and unpleasant emotions. So pleasant emotions are those, that would make us feel good, happy, comfortable, um, like proactive, like joy, ecstasy, happiness, all such things. Anything that would bring positive impact in your body and mind and in your behavior can be coined or understood as pleasant emotions. And unpleasant emotions are those, that creates negative impact on the body and your behavior. They can be sadness, fear, worry, guilt, or anything of that sort. But that creates a negative impact. So what pleasant emotions keeps us motivated, keeps us active always, but whereas unpleasant emotions, they affect us negatively. We may react in a negative way, we may pick up quarrels, or we may postpone the things that we are supposed to do, so on. So when we have unpleasant emotions, more and more, see, at the physical level, if we understand that the things at the biological level, when we have unpleasant emotions, more and more cortisol is released. So cortisol is a neurochemical that is produced by the adrenal glands. A triangle shape, this thing above our kidney produces cortisol. So cortisol is released in the body, which may affect us in various ways. So this is a very brief introduction about what is emotion, what is the importance of emotion in our life to lead a happier and more productive life, and what are the types of emotions. Now I would I would like to have, so if you have any questions regarding the aspects that I have presented till now, you may ask, or else we may proceed. I take 1 minute to take up questions. If there are no questions, then I assume that I can go to the next slide. Shall I? You can thumbs up at least. If I
Yes,
can.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
You can
Yes,
proceed.
ma'am.
Please proceed.
Yeah, okay. So what happens with the unpleasant emotions basically? So let's take it at the physical level. But first, it's health issues. Many health issues may come. So nowadays, people say. So earlier, when my grandfather was taken to test whether he has diabetes or not, he was in his 68th year. So my father got it checked when he was 50, and my physician asks me to get checked once in a year, like once you cross 40, every year you have to go for the checkup. All this is because of the inability to handle our emotions properly and excessive release of the cortisol in the body. So many health issues may come. It can be diabetes, it can be blood pressure, it can be cardiovascular disorder, or sometimes we are also witnessing obesity. So obesity, even amongst the children, are facing the issues of obesity today. All this is due to stress. Some people will ask, can a child have stress? Yes, a child can definitely have the stress. That may not be a very serious matter for you, but for the child it's a serious matter. So in that context, unpleasant emotions may give rise to many health issues, both internal organs and external organs. So say for example, even if you can make out by looking at the face of an individual who is so unpleasant, like their hair, their skin itself reflects whether they're living a happy life or unhappy life. So health issues may come up, and it's more so again, like if we just try to understand it from the gender perspective, emotions of women are little different, and when it comes to emotions of women, it has a connections with the menstrual cycle of the women, and we need a better understanding about it. Many times people ignore it. Women themselves ignore it. Forget about men ignoring it. We ourselves ignore it. That is one area where we have to pay attention to, so that our emotional health is good. Another important issue is relationship issues. Yeah, if you're not emotionally stable and if you're not able to give emotionally to the other people, definitely you cannot connect with the other people. It can be your spouse, parents, children, or colleagues in any way. So say for example, say, do you like someone who is always gloomy? Do you like someone who would like to pick up quarrels instantly without giving reason to it? Definitely no, right? So it may give rise to many relationship issues. Either you're in a conflicting relationship or people will run away from you if you do not have the right emotions. And if we are not having good relationship, definitely we cannot be happy. A third important area is, wealth or financial issues. When you are unstable emotionally, or when you are experiencing a lot of unpleasant emotions, it may also affect your financial issues. There are several studies, they are saying that women will go for shopping when they feel so stressed, when they are not happy. To feel good, they go for shopping, they go for beauty parlor, or something of that sort. Uh, uh, to start with, they are the simple areas where we waste our money, and later it may also affect the way you invest your money, the way you make profit. So unpleasant emotions will have negative impact on the way you create your wealth and your financial assets. And fourth important area is your orientation to life or view to life. So basically, we are all on the journey on this earth. If I have to understand it properly, maybe we'll be here for 70 years, 80 years, 90 years or so. So it's so important that we need to experience this life in a beautiful and meaningful way. We can by contributing to the world and by getting things from the world. Now, this is the way we can see the life. But many times, if you have a lot of unpleasant emotions, people will say, the world is not good, people are not good, life is not worth living. They have negative attitude towards everything, starting from their body, their profession, financial conditions, politics, geography, everything. So people will have negative orientation towards life when they expect more of unpleasant emotions in their lives. So let's try to understand the anatomy of brain. Of course, I am from social work department, um, but I like, let's try to understand a bit about our brain and our emotions. So we have the brain stem back at the back of our neck, that takes care of all the automatic functions of the body. Like, we cannot, unless and until we pay attention, can we understand how our kidney is functioning, liver is functioning, blood is flowing in the body. All these functions are happening on its own, and brain stem is carrying out that function. Another important organ of the brain is the limbic system. So this is responsible for the arousal of emotions and reactions in the individual. But it's also called as primitive brain because, we were all hunters and gatherers, right? So our that limbic system has been created for fight or flight mode. When a stressful situation arises, suppose you're trying to gather some food in the forest, and some tiger will come. Now you have two options: one is to fight with the tiger, or to flee away, like you will flight. So these are the two reactions. But however, now we are also witnessing other two reactions, like, freeze. So people freeze themselves, without responding, without doing anything, because, if I speak something, I'll be caught. This is the fear. And another important pattern is also identified by the psychologists, that is people pleasing. You try to be the people pleaser, so that you can save yourself. So these reactions are coming from the limbic system, and more specifically amygdala, a badam size organ in our brain. And this is responsible for all these reactions: fight, flight, freeze, and please. So unfortunately, what happens, people used to get stress like during the previous ages, they would have seen some tiger or some snake or something like that, they would drag, right? The energy that has been produced, or the cortisol that has been produced by the adrenal glands will be, it would have been utilized then there is no problem, because the cortisol that has been produced has been used by your body to fight or flight. But when you use freeze or please, those emotions will be stored in your amygdala, which may pop up at any point of time, either emotionally or physically, and may cause various health problems or behavioral problems or performance issues. So this is where we have to take care. So amygdala is the most important part, which is responsible for the feelings. So it stores all the emotions since your childhood. And then another important organ is prefrontal cortex. It is responsible for processing of the information and response. So what are important functions of the prefrontal cortex, or PFC? Here afterwards we can use the word PFC. PFC is control. So when a particular emotion comes and you want to react in a particular way, you will control, no, this is not right. So that direction is coming from your PFC. So shifting from reaction to response. So earlier what we used to do, when a limbic system says something, we would react immediately. Suppose someone scolds you, you will scold back immediately. Suppose someone uses a bad language, you feel that I also must use the same language to protect myself. This is the reaction that we give if we go according to the directions given by the amygdala or the limbic system. But whereas PFC is a more cool, processed and composed organ of our brain, which gives us, control. Second important thing, commitment to our life, commitment to enhance our life, commitment to do the things in a better way. So all such decisions, planning, basically planning can be done by the using the prefrontal cortex. It depends, it's like when we listen to FM radio, we'll tune into various stations. So now you have to make a decision, from where do you function, whether you function from the limbic system or you function from the prefrontal cortex. Third important aspect is the choices that you make in your life. Fourth important thing is command. You can ask your amygdala to shut its mouth, not to be so erratic. So if the prefrontal cortex soothes it, then it can work in a better way. Okay, so this is the picture. So this is the amygdala. Amygdala, again, it's like 50% of it is in the left brain and another 50% of it is in the right brain. And the amygdala part that is there in the right brain is something that triggers you to do something. For all emotional reactions, the amygdala that is there in the right hemisphere of the brain is responsible. Left helps you to be cool, process the message or process the situation, and then it helps you to take the decision. So if this is the fact, then what are the sources of our emotional patterns? So basically all of us will be having a particular type of emotional pattern. So emotional patterns refer to recurring and predictable emotional responses to certain situations or stimuli. We can name people, he is always joyful, he's always happy, someone is always so angry, someone is always so composed. We can identify people based on the emotional states that they express for a longer period of time. All of us will have that's ups and downs, but to what extent is something that is important. So what are the causes for that, like what is the source of this particular emotional pattern? So first important aspect is genetical factors. We all inherit the characteristics, qualities of our parents and ancestors. So genetic factors, of course, plays an important role in your emotional patterns. Sometimes we'll be speaking like our grandmother. will be speaking like our maternal aunt, we carry it, right? So you may pick up patterns of dealing with life, patterns of emotional experiences of love, belongingness, a sense of caring, or the opposites of these emotions. You may inherit genetically. So if the environment is supportive, then that particular pattern will manifest, or it will appear in your life. Second important aspect is your early childhood experiences. Researchers are saying that, it's like up to 3 years, whatever the blueprint of the life of an individual is prepared during the first 3 years of the life. That's what psychology says, and it's been proven also. So if the early childhood experiences means, if all the emotional needs of the children are met during the early childhood, like carrying that support, basically the physical touch of the mother, feeding, if all such requirements of the children are met properly within the 3 years, so then it's expected that the child would grow as emotionally matured person. What if the child experiences neglect, rejection, or abuse? So, if the child experiences negative experiences, or we can say traumatic experience. So, when we say traumatic experience, we always tend to believe that traumatic experience means someone has to scold you, someone has to beat you up. No, not necessarily. The child is crying, the child has some emotional requirement, but the mother is not attending, or any other significant relative is not attending to the emotional needs of the child, then also it is traumatic. It gets recorded in the amygdala that I have not been cared of, and that keeps crying. From there the feeling of sadness comes. Many people we see, even when everything is fine, we find them to be very gloomy. Materialistically everything looks very fine, but we find them to be very sad or gloomy, or not so interested in life, because the root is in the childhood trauma. So there is a German physician who has written a lot of book on psychology, child psychology. He speaks about the impact of early childhood experiences on the emotional patterns of the individuals. So up to 3 years is one important age, and if we cannot do, then the next important age is the adolescence, 13, 14, 15, 16, so on. So that is another age where the mind is ready to rewire itself. It doesn't mean that we cannot change, we cannot heal the people. They live with the same patterns throughout their life. People can change, people keep changing till their last breath, and it is possible. Neuroplasticity happens till the last breath. So neuroplasticity is the process of creating new neural connections in the brain with every new experience. It's not necessary that you have learned something up to 20 years and you will live with that. After that, nothing will happen. No, every new experiences will create a neural pathway. It is called as neuroplasticity. So this is all about early childhood experiences. For many of our problems, we may also have roots in our childhood. So that is where we have to focus on, so that we can change our lives. And another important thing is other major life events or circumstances or situations, any traumatic situation. Say, for example, people might have got exposed to disaster. There was a disaster, floods in Punjab. So if people get exposed to such traumatic, or witnessing an accident, or death of the significant people, or any such major life events which is so traumatic for the individual, can also create a particular emotional pattern in the individual. So now Is it fine with you all?
Yes, ma'am.
So can I have some discussions or questions from your side? Yeah, please. Anyone can volunteer. You can reflect on yourself also. This is
Ma'am,
yeah.
yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
You mentioned that early childhood experience, right?
Yeah.
Saying that even children have stress. How are we going to, how do we get to know that the child is under stress? Because in children, usually they're bubbly, they're talking and things. But sometimes we feel the child is sitting aloof, not trying to mingle with people or anything like that. But that could be some reason. Probably it could be a tantrum or anything. But how do you differentiate?
Okay, yeah, see, when a child is under constant stress, when you expose the child to constant stress, you can definitely find them behaving in a particular pattern, like not showing interest or tantrum, you said, no? So that may get on for a prolonged period of time, or they may keep crying, they may not show interest in connecting with the friends. So whatever their peers are showing interest,
We'll
these
make one
children may
competition
not show the
initially, then
interest.
we will select. Yeah.
Someone is
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
yeah, that's how you can see. Someone was came in between. Anyway, it's a prolonged this thing. You can see the differences in the way they behave. Eating patterns changes, sometimes sleeping patterns also changes. This is how. Thank you. See, since it's like online mode, it's good if you also interact with us. Okay. So anyway, I'll move ahead. What if we have unpleasant emotional patterns and how to break them? So yes. So this is the first thing is identifying the patterns. So the greatest problem is we are all so good at speaking about others, right? I'm so good at judging others, understanding others, criticizing others. But the important aspect is, how much we know ourselves. So the first step is identify your own patterns. So how to identify your own patterns? Say, for example, you may have procrastination. Do you? People or the society or even in your boss or your principal would say, no, that lady or that person always keeps procrastinating the things. So let's not assign him any responsibility. We'll give it to others. So procrastination is a behavior, it's not a emotional pattern. But if we try to dig little deeper, why do people procrastinate? People procrastinate because of the fear of failure, because of lack of recognition. So procrastination as a behavior will show you the way, to identify what are those suppressed emotions that is coming in your way of success or living a fulfilling life. So you may also have withdrawal symptoms, not showing interest about anything in the world. So emotional patterns may not pop up as outbursts like anger, aggression. That is also emotional pattern. But sometimes they'll be very silent like this. Withdrawal, sad, gloomy, or postponing the things, lack of involvement in love. So we can identify such patterns and we can go little deeper. And if we work little deeper in the individual, then we'll get to know what might be the reason for that particular behavioral pattern. And if we work in that, we can help the individual to come out of the procrastination. People may also get into addictions. We'll just tell them, like someone is addicted to relationships, someone is addicted to gambling, someone is addicted to smoking, alcohol consumption, and sometimes people are also addicted to food, repeated, like they want to take food repeatedly. So they are all the behaviors that gives an hint that there is something wrong that needs to be addressed. So once you identify the pattern, so if you want to work on yourselves, identify the patterns. You may have 2, 3, or 4 patterns. So it's always good to take up one at a time. Say for example, you have anger outbursts. You can take up that. You can work on one thing at a time, and you can use the following steps. First step is catharsis, or ventilation. So ventilation of the feelings that is within the individual. So once you start working on yourself, once you take time for yourself, reflect on your own life and experiences and situations, definitely many things will come to the front, and they start speaking with you in a way. So during this time, it's always good to ventilate it. So how to ventilate it? Talking. You can talk with the trustworthy people, loved ones, or known people. If you do not have anyone to whom you can really rely on, you can choose a lonely place like a park, or near the beach. Yes, of course, you have to find a place that is lonely, and you can speak with yourselves. If that is also not okay for you, then you can sit down and journal everything about you and yourself, uh, and then you can go for reasoning it. Say for example, someone has scolded you so badly when you were 18, and that pain is still sitting on your head, and it's still troubling you, still. So if we do not reason it, it either wants to, your brain either wants to suffer it, or it wants to take revenge about it. So we don't want either of the thing. Neither we want to suffer, nor we would like to take a revenge about them. So now you reason it. How do you reason it? Say, so and so scolded because so and so's background is that, or so and so's life situation is that. It's not about me, or it's about them. Or if they have scolded you for a right reason, it was good that I didn't take up the corrective measure. At least now I'll take up the corrective measures. That is what is reasoning it. It should not be fake again. You have to be genuine with yourselves. Of all, you're working with yourselves, not with others. So reason it out. And third thing is reframe it. So whatever the emotions that you had, reframe it with the positive one. So why so much about emotions? Emotions direct our attention, and our attention creates our reality. So we always say, wherever attention goes, energy flows. If your attention goes on some unhealthy or unpleasant experience, and if you're always feeling it, then you cannot have success probably. So, and the beauty of the emotion is, intellect can know the pieces of life, and emotion can know the wholeness of life. So I think everything is clear till now. So now we are getting into the topic, that is emotional intelligence. So the terminology was first used by Salovey and Mayer during 1990. That they said emotional intelligence involves the ability to monitor one's own and others' feelings and emotions, to discriminate among them, and use the information to guide one's thinking and action. So it's understanding your own emotion as well as the emotions of the others. So the key to our life, if we want to really live a rich, happier, prosperous, and successful life, it's our ability to master our feelings. It can be achieved by paying attention to our own selves. So to summarize, what is emotional intelligence? It is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your emotions, and to recognize, understand, and influence the emotions of others. Sorry. So after Salovey and John D. Mayer, Daniel Goleman has written a book titled Emotional Intelligence itself. It's an interesting book, and of course it has also gained wide acceptance, right? So now let's have a small kind of discussion. Now I have been speaking. My question to all the participants is it wrong to get angry?
No, ma'am.
No.
Why? Anger is a negative emotion, right?
Yes.
It is also a feeling that we need to show
Why? How does
at
it
times.
benefit Madam Sarvamangala? How does it benefit, ma'am?
There's no benefit.
Ma'am, you have given it in the slide itself. Story of the snake. I know the story of the snake.
Okay. Good that I have people who already know the subject. Okay. So now shall I tell the story, or shall I continue without telling the story? I'm asking all the participants.
Ma'am, you can go with the story.
If everyone knows it, what is the point?
Not everyone, ma'am.
You know it, right? Yeah. Okay. So like so okay, in a village, there was a snake which was troubling all the small kids who were playing around near the farmland. So all the children were always afraid of this snake. It used to trouble them. So one day, a saint passes through that farmland, and he has observed that all the children were not happy. They were afraid of the snake, and they were hiding themselves without really growing and expressing themselves. Then the saint felt that these children need to play on the street. They are hiding themselves, and he called the snake and he preached them not to bite the children, and he preached the snake to be loving, compassionate, and so on. So okay, the snake was so impressed by the words of the saint, and it followed the words of the saint. So after a few months, the saint passes through the same place again. Then he saw the snake. It's not eaten for many days. It's been they have stoned, those boys have stoned, threw stones at the snake, and it has wounds here and there. And the saint felt so bad at this snake, and he called and asked, what happened to you? Why are you like this? So then he told the saint, you know what to do, because I listened to all your words. After I became so calm, cool, compassionate, and loving, all these children have started throwing stones at me, and I have wounds all over my body. What to do now? Then the saint smiled and said, you know what? I told you not to bite, but not to hiss. ಬುಸ್ಗುಟ್ಟೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ. ಇನ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನಿಂಗ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ. ಸೊ ಹಿಸ್ sound that makes by the snake. So if you're not really expressing your anger properly, whenever it is required, people will take a ride on you, right? So anger is not a wrong thing, but Aristotle, we all know that there is a great philosopher, Aristotle says anyone can become angry, that's easy, but to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way, this is not easy, and that becomes your emotional intelligence. So it's not that so many times people says sadness is a negative emotions, you should not feel sad, so carry a plastic smile on your face. Do you think that plastic smile solves your problem? So that's why deliberately I have not used the word positive and negative emotions. I have tried to use the word pleasant and unpleasant emotions. But many times those unpleasant emotions shows the way. They guide you to work towards something. They guide you to solve the problem, right? So whether it is anger, sadness, grief, guilt, whatever. So just imagine, what if we do not have fear in our mind? We wouldn't have worked, right? So, but they are unpleasant. You should not carry it for a longer period of time, but they can be a gateway. They show you the path, they show you the directions. So, another philosopher, Horace Walpole, says life is a comedy for those who think and a tragedy for those who feel. So, you would like to live your life as a comedian, or not comedian, a joyful and happy life, or you want to live it like a tragedy. So, it's because, what Horace Walpole is trying to tell you is that choose your feelings consciously and work on it. So, say for example, some death happened, some loss happened. Don't you sit with sadness? We are supposed to sit with sadness so that we work on it. You cannot giggle around at that time. So, the goal here is balance, not suppression. Whatever may be the emotion, whether it is pleasant emotion or unpleasant emotion, the goal in the whole process of emotional intelligence is balance, having a balanced this thing. So, emotional intelligence has 4 important aspects to consider. This is again very important: awareness about self and ability to manage the self, awareness about the society and the relationship management. Okay, so what is self-awareness? Self-awareness, when it, I'm not speaking about the whole awareness, I'm speaking about your emotional part of your life. That is knowing what you're feeling and how strongly you're feeling. It gives you diagnosis of where you are right now. What are your emotions? What are your strongest emotions at this point of time? We all need to recognize. You can work on it in the evening, right? What are our strongest emotions? Say in a day we think more than 60,000 thoughts. Your thoughts are the sources of your emotions. In fact, your thoughts are the sources of your emotions, and those emotions will give you the feeling. So in that case, in that 60,000 thoughts, how many are really right emotions and how many are not so right emotions, and how we have to work on it? So this is something like where you all need to work, where we all, including me, we all need to work on ourselves, right? Through emotional awareness comes the ability to control and regulate our emotions, right? So once you, say for example, we also need to make a list, make an understanding of what must be the dominant emotions for my personal life and for my professional life. Say for example, what is the emotion that I need to carry towards my students? What is the emotion that I need to have towards the work that I'm doing? Because see, the whole world runs around emotions, not alone on intelligence, rational, and logic. Right? Basically, we are all emotional beings, humans. So, giving right direction to that emotion will show you the right path. So, when you are aware about your emotions, you will understand what are the right emotions, what are the not so right emotions, what to delete from your life, what to develop it within your life, and how to. Second important thing is emotional balance. As I have already told you, emotional intelligence is, it's not about just always giggling, being happy, showing a happy face. No, emotional balance is using the emotions to achieve the purpose of your life. We have both personal and professional purposes, so using those emotions to achieve the purpose of our life. Third important thing is it helps you have a positive outlook towards life, right? I often listen to the founder of Isha Foundation, Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev. If, with all your permission, I'll say. So while speaking about positive outlook, he always say, what is, you see, while coming to this earth, have we brought anything? No, we have not brought anything. Then whatever that we get on this earth, we are on the profit side. So I'm not saying it, I'm just copying his words. So he always says, whatever that you get, you're on the profit side. Then where is the point of losing something, right? So positive outlook is looking at every experience of our life as a meaningful, enriching one. It has a purpose, whether the pleasant experience or the unpleasant experience, it has a purpose to your life. Look for that purpose and work towards it. That is positive outlook. So now people says, positive thinking means, saying all is well. No, that is not positive. That is toxic positivity. On the face of the problem, you're saying all is well. No, these are not right, but I'll have to work on it. We can work on it. We can work towards it. That is what is always positive outlook. It's not ignoring the problem or ignoring the unhealthy situation. Rather, you are prepared to work towards removing the problem. And next important thing is adaptability to the situations wherein we live. So from where does adaptability comes? Adaptability comes from acceptance. When you are able to accept yourself and when you are able to accept the world, you can easily gel in. Another important aspect is achievement orientation and the goal focus. You have to focus on your purpose, on your goal, not on the problem that you have faced yesterday. Yesterday is over. You have the option to focus today and onwards, right? So with self awareness comes the self management. So this is I'm sorry, this thing is missing. Okay, but first left corner, first box, you can see read as dopamine. So you all must be knowing, so many people must be from science background, or anybody in general would know as an adult. So there are some hormones and neurochemicals in the body that would make us feel in a certain way. So if you really want to hack, someday you feel so sad for no reason, you really don't want to dig deeper and don't want to know, then you can understand these things and work on this thing. So these are all happy hormones that makes you feel good, calm and comfortable. But how do we get the dopamine? Dopamine is a rewarding chemical. So when is dopamine released? When you complete a particular task. That's why we must take small tasks. Say, for example, you have to write a project within 10 days. You want to keep yourself motivated so that you will write the project. You can make a decision. Tomorrow morning, I'll write the introduction part. So morning, you wake up at 5 o'clock, between 5 to 5:45 or 6 a.m. before everyone starts up and demand your attention. If you just write the introductory part, dopamine will release, and that makes you feel good and you can work comfortably for the rest of the day. So by completing a particular task, a dopamine is released in your brain. And then self-care activities, any self-care activities like massaging, taking a walk in the forest, any soothing this thing you can do. And of course, eating food. So many times people get addicted. For dopamine, they keep eating food. And they eat a particular food. This is how the food industry is really prospering, so people eat food, and when they feel unhappy or little gloomy again, they'll go for eating food. But that's not the right way. Again, we must be aware, because food also affects our emotions, which I have not included in this class. There is a strong relationship between what we eat and how we feel, because it's a 1 hour session. So try to keep it as simple as possible. And then celebrating little wins is one more important aspect that we all have to do. Many times we know we have many things to celebrate, but we don't do it, because what is the benefit of celebrating little wins? It motivates you to perform again, so that your productivity can be enhanced. And then oxytocin. So with some what is that? With some sense of humor in it, Indian mothers would say, right? I have shown you several moons all these years, but within one honeymoon you have changed. right? They'll tell to their respective son or so on, so, right? Oxytocin is one hormone that is released when you are in lovemaking. It can be anything, of course, not necessarily husband and wife relationship. It can be when we spend time with our pets, when we spend time with our children, or oxytocin is released, and that makes you, it's a feel good hormone, it makes you feel good. And then serotonin is another thing. Serotonin is a mood stabilizer. So the day where you feel that, you know, many things are coming up in your mind and you're not able to focus and concentrate on anything, definitely you can go for this. So you can go for early morning or evening sun rays you can take, and meditating, running, or being spending time with the nature. These things you can do. But it's only like when you feel overwhelmed. It's like sometimes there is a conflict between your PFC and your amygdala. So then we feel overwhelmed, will not be able to focus on anything. Then we can choose this, and this will regulate your body. It will bring your body to homeostasis, and you can do it. And then endorphin. Endorphin is a painkiller. Laughing, exercising, dark chocolates are essential. These are all the simple hacks. But however, changing the thoughts, having a lifestyle is the basis. But however, at times we can use it. Next important thing is social awareness. Social awareness is, when we speak about intelligence, it's more and more about empathy. So we can just categorize, for the sake of understanding, empathy into in three ways or in three stages. First stage is cognitive empathy. Cognitive empathy is understanding the situation of the other person. Where is he, what he or she, what is her condition, what are the problems they are facing. That is simple cognitive understanding. Second important stage is emotional empathy. Try to understand the way they feel. You try to feel the way they feel, so how you will be able to respond. And third thing is empathetic concern or compassion. Daya we say, in all Kannada daye ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. And daya, the Hindi also daya or karunya we say. So when we are able to apply all these three things, and this cannot happen with the knowledge, this can happen with the way you feel. You may be able to write 101 pages about it, but important aspect here is the way you feel for them, right? So it also says namge all this galata is created by the amygdala or the limbic system, all right? It fights with whenever we try to do something. So you can regulate it when you listen with empathy to the opposite person. Say for example, the student is so disturbed, he's not concentrating on anything, you want to speak to him or her, right? So science also has proven that listening with deep empathy leads to limbic resonance, means there is a connection that is established between you and the other person. So it's called, there are cells called mirror neurons. So those mirror neurons helps you to connect with the other person, helps you to read the other person. Both of you would connect with each other. So when the resonance is established, the other person feels better. And the next step is when they understand you care for the other person, limbic regulations happens. They're ready to listen to you. They're ready to accept your words, whatever. And the third step is limbic rewiring. They would listen to whatever you say. So it won't take much time, but it will take much attempt. The level of your involvement is something that's important. So when you are able to develop this awareness properly, means when you are able to be empathetic with the people around you, it's easy for you to manage your relationships. See, understand, when you are able to develop proper self-awareness, self-management is easy. When you are able to develop social awareness, management of relationship is easier. So this is the thing. So when you establish proper the connection with the other person, when you are guiding them to the right things, It's easy for you to guide, influence, and get work done. Not necessarily personal work. Again, I'm saying it's, you want them to perform some tasks as a student. So it is easy for you to mold them, guide them to go in the right direction. You can be a good team player in your workplace. You can be a good team member, and it's easy for you to handle conflict because you know that it's not coming from prefrontal cortex, it's coming from the amygdala. Amygdala is some trash, some stored emotions. Okay, so you will understand, you will let them to vent it out, and then when they come to normal, you can speak. But if you do not have this awareness, if they also speak from amygdala, you will also speak from amygdala, and everything is over, right? So this is the thing. So relationship management helps you to strengthen their relationships and lives. So next important thing that I would like to speak with you all is emotional hygiene, right? So it's very, very important. If you want to be healthy, we speak about physical hygiene, we use a lot of this thing, disinfectants, that, this and all. But how about emotional hygiene and how to go about it, right? So first thing is set boundaries and respect the boundaries of others, which is missing here. Set boundaries and respect the boundaries of others. Very, very important. Can I share one more story? Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
yes. You know, what is the say here, like I'm really running. Generally, even in the class, what is the importance of telling stories to the students? It's because it gets directly to amygdala. The moment you tell story, amygdala will be like a small child, happy to listen to your stories. Yeah, what? Tell me. And it will be happy. And messages will get in a better way, right?
It
So,
is easy to recall.
yes, madam. Yes, madam. Thank you. Easy to recall, and it will record strongly. Thank you. So setting boundaries is once a farmer was in his farm tent. He was sleeping. So in the midnight, he'll find some sound outside, and he'll go and see. There was a camel sleeping next to his tent, and the camel asked, "I'm feeling so cold. Can I put at least my legs into your tent?" So the farmer said, "Yes, you can. Okay." So the camel kept its leg into the tent, and then it asked for the trunk, and then it finally, what happened in the process of asking one after another organ of the body, finally it threw away the farmer outside the tent and it stayed inside. Right? This is what happens if you do not set boundaries. And many times it's so unfortunate. Physical boundaries, when people cross, we'll know. Emotional boundaries, we do not know when people cross, when they enter in, and when we have lost ourselves. We lose our purpose, we lose our needs, we lose our requirements. And after several years, you say, "Hurry, what did I do all these years? And why did I do it?" So understanding ourselves, understanding our own requirements and setting boundaries is something that is very, very important. And in your life, you can people those who respect those boundaries only. Okay. Second important aspect is be assertive. Of course, you all must be knowing the difference between aggressiveness and assertiveness. Being assertive, say it politely. But if you want to say no, say no. If you want to say yes, say yes. So don't try to say yes when you want to say no, because your brain will suffer, and that won't allow your prefrontal cortex to function. Just, like when a small child is disturbed in the family, it won't allow the parents to sleep well, right? It will keep troubling. Similarly, so if you do not care your own requirements, then you will face these consequences. Understand and meet your needs, physical, psychological, social, emotional. All our requirements has to be met properly. And then convert your complaints into requests. So do not complain. What is the point in complaining something? So you have two options. Convert all your complaints about the college or the people in your life into requests. If not, accept it. There are certain things that we cannot change. Fine, accept. It's their life, they're living it. There are certain things, right? And then replace negative emotions like jealous with inspiration. So you may feel jealous when someone achieves something. So Be aware, be conscious, bring it into your awareness. Okay, I'm feeling jealous, I need to work on it. So how to work on the jealous? Get inspired through their words and try to work towards achieving it. And sadness with hope. Last important aspect in emotional hygiene is do not indulge in gossiping. Gossiping drains away. Gossiping takes away all your energy. Their emotions become yours. So, like it may not be very closely related to this topic, but we all carry an electromagnetic frequency around our body, right? So, that keeps us either energetic or drained. So, when you indulge in unhealthy gossiping, wherein you speak a lot of unhealthy emotions, then there is a possibility that your energy will deplete and you lose motivation and interest to work. So emotional hygiene is something that is important. And then another important aspect is emotional strength. So how we can stay strong and comfortable. First thing is being authentic. Don't try to show something that you're not to the world. What I know, what I do not know, I do not know. I'm in the process of learning. I'm in the process of life. What I am is I am. Be authentic in your feelings, in your expressions. That always keeps you in your comfort zone at the emotional level. Do not try to fake the things. Be authentic. Wherever you want to say, definitely you can say no. Wherever you do not have something, you can say, I do not have, I do not know. That's fine. Second thing is resilience. See, let's understand that problems are always part of life. Okay, resilient is something that is, resilience is your ability to bounce back when a problem comes up, right? So when you're calm, composed, when you sit with your problem and you work on it, you can definitely bounce back. Instead, if you go aggressive or if you give place for all unhealthy emotions, you cannot solve your problem. Your emotional strength is your resilience during your odd times, right? And third important thing is the spiritual practices. For centuries, spiritual practices were considered as not so logical, not so rational, and not so scientific. Thanks to the new researchers that are coming up, they are all proving that spiritual practices enhances your emotional strength and you can do better in your life. So what kind of spiritual practices? I'm not speaking about religious practices here. I'm very specific. I'm speaking about the spiritual practices, the energy within you, the essence within you. Feed it, understand it, nurture it, and do something. So what can be done? Anything, starting from chanting, praying, or walking in the forest. So while I was preparing for this, I have come across some podcasts of Shweta Adatia. So she is a neuroscientist. She's working on the benefits of spiritual practices on emotional intelligence. So how to enhance the memory, how to regulate the brain, how to stabilize the mood, all such things. And we can have one at least, so that we feel that strength within ourselves so that we work. And last important aspect is flow state. Flow state is the intense concentration about what we are doing at this point of time. So nature itself will take care of your life. So flow state is very difficult to achieve, but we can start a journey towards it, right? The sportsman says, sometimes Vishwanathan Anand, the chess champion, would say, I don't know how I made that move, but that helps me to win the game, right? So when you're in a flow state, your brain works at its best. So we all can focus and try to achieve that intense concentration on whatever we are doing. So these things will help you for emotional strengthening. And these are the references, especially yes, Wordsworth I have spoken, Peter Salovey and John Mayer's article you can find, and Daniel Goleman's book is very interesting. He has written 4 more books along with that. You can take it. They all run like stories, and it'll be very interesting to read it. And then most important thing is, the physiological and psychological effects of forest on young women conducted by Japanese. It's very interesting how it really regulates the body functioning. So this is all about my presentation. So I think now we have time for question and answers or discussions or feedback, whatever you call.